everybody! So today I'm going to be making a video on some quick tips for some resumes, and you can utilize these tips if you're a civilian and have always been a civilian, or if you're an active military member transitioning into civilian world, but that's kind of more what it's catered towards. Active duty members transitioning into civilian life, and they need to create a resume that'll assist them with getting employment. So I actually wrote down some notes because I want to make sure I don't forget anything. This is going to be pretty quick. But so first of all, let's go ahead and talk about how long a resume should be. In my opinion, and well, actually, let me scratch that. Let me tell you what I used to do. So I used to work for a grant, HVRP. I'll link that video down below, and that's actually assistance for veterans. But while I was there, I was an employment specialist, and I used to teach resume classes, assist veterans with seeking employment, get them jobs, assist them with clothing allowances and all that kind of stuff. So I've been doing this resume business. I no longer work there anymore. I'm a stay-at-home mama now, but I do consider myself to know how to write some pretty darn good resumes. So you don't have to listen to my advice, obviously. If you don't care, just X out, no big deal. But if you do want some great tips that have proven to work, because I've gotten veterans jobs using my resume techniques, and they've actually, when they listen to me when I do hold these classes, or when I held the classes, it worked for them as well. So the first thing is, a resume should be anywhere from 1 to 2 pages. Now I'm speaking specifically for general resumes. I'm not talking about federal resumes, so don't try to correct me and say federal resumes are... No, we're not talking about that right now. We are specifically talking about general resumes. So anywhere from 1 to 2 pages. My resume is 1 page, right? My resume has worked very well for me. When I was working, I received numerous callbacks and offers and all kind of stuff like that. 1 page for me. I have a lot of experience in the military. I have civilian experience as well. I worked at USAA and all that kind of stuff. So, and a lot of education too. If you guys don't know, I do have my master's degree, so all my schooling goes on there as well, and it's only 1 page. Your 2 pages are going to be for those that have, I would say, 15 years to 20 years of experience in the same field, or for like doctors, lawyers, what have you. And it all depends on what the company wants, because some of them will be like, we want your resume to be like this, and blah blah blah, answer these specific questions. So sometimes your resume will go over 1 or 2 pages depending on the company's needs, but for general resumes, I would say 1 page. So you want to try to fit it in there, and don't put it in like size 6 font where you can't see anything. Just ensure that you're putting the most important things that you want to stand out to your employer on there. So 1 to 2 pages, and make sure that you are using civilian verbiage when you're doing this. I know that when we were all in, we all have our NCOICs, we all know what that is, EPR, staff sergeant, troops, soldiers, and all that kind of stuff. That is all military verbiage. You want to use civilian verbiage so that they know what you were talking about. A lot of them don't know what an NCOIC is. So you need to put that you were a supervisor, you were the head of, whatever organization that you were, and if you were in charge of, for example, 180 soldiers, put staff members. Okay, not only were you in charge of them, you trained them, right? Train action verbs. We want to use a lot of action verbs. I'm going to go ahead and put a link for that, the action verb sheet that I use all the time, in the description box. You want to use strong action verbs so that they know, because you train. Not only were you in charge of them, you wrote performance evaluations, not EPRs, right? That's Air Force language. You wrote performance evaluations, trained, supervised. There's numerous things that you actually did. You mentored, everything, disciplined, anything like that. So you just want to make sure they know exactly what you did, because in your mind it may not seem like a lot, but on paper and in actuality you did a lot. Okay, so I noticed I had a veteran that brought me a resume. He was infantry. Shout out to all my infantry members. He was putting some things on there that he probably shouldn't have put on there just for the job that he was applying for. I wouldn't put anything about the number of people that you've killed. That's something that you kind of want to leave off, especially if you're applying, for example, to Walmart. That's something that you want to leave out. You know what I'm saying? You can just put that you work great under pressure, stressful situations. employers always want to know. That's another thing that I did. I actually reviewed resumes for individuals that were going to be hired at the organization I was working with, and I also held interviews for them. So that's what I want to know. I want to know that you're on time. I want to know that you're able to work in high stress situations, you're able to adapt to different things. That's what I want to know. When you're using numbers, so earlier I used the example, I forgot what number I used, but I'll use a different number. You're in charge of 2,000 staff members. You don't want to write out 2 TWO 1,000. You want to write out the exact, like the number, and that's going to be like a key point. So when I'm looking at a resume and I see 2,000, I'm instantly going to go to that and I'm going to read that line, because I'm like, oh, 2,000 what? So make your numbers stand out. That's very important. Use bullet forms. Like I said, for general resume, I would prefer to read something that's in bullet form. I don't want to read a novel. I don't want to do that, because people, HR representatives, they will get bored. Put the most important things, what you did, bullet forms, straight to the point. That's it. We don't need to know like the whole novel. We don't want to know that. Well, eventually we will want to know that during the interview, but to get to the interview, just put the most important things on there. Cater your resume towards specific jobs descriptions. So for example, if you're applying to Walmart, look at the job description on walmart.com, whatever it is that you're applying for, supervisor position, blah, 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 blah. Cater it towards that. So if you were a supervisor, you want to use all your supervisor bullets. You don't want to use when you were, you know, just an airman and you weren't in charge of anybody. You want to use your specific, you just want to cater it towards what they need. Just talk about what they need to know in the job description, okay? Yeah, so you don't ever want to send the same one out. So if you have a resume that you're sending to Walmart for a supervisor position, you don't want to send that same resume to Home Depot if it's an entry-level position, because it won't work. You'll need to change a few things up. Lapse of employment. This is so big. This is what I noticed the most of. So employers do not like job hoppers, right? I mean, we understand there's certain situations and that can be explained in certain ways in your resume. I don't want to know that you're quitting jobs every 3 months, because why would I want to hire you? I'm spending money hiring you, doing background check, what have you, and then you're just going to quit or be terminated. I don't want to see that. Now, if I see that you were going to school, that's different, because you are still keeping yourself busy. If you were volunteering, you do not have to be paid to put that in employment. If you were volunteering, that is your employment. You want to put that on there. What did you do for volunteering? Even if you were a homemaker, right? Like right now I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I'm still keeping myself busy. I have like another independent business that I'm working with, but always keep your resume up to date and keep it valid. You want to make sure that they know that you're still working or volunteering or going to school. You can see, like if I had like a little lapse of employment, you can see that I was pursuing my education. And then for my education, I always put, you know, estimated time of completion, completed now, thank God. That was it felt like I went to school for 1,000 years. But anyways, I really didn't. It was really like only 5. But anyways, make sure you put estimated date of completion on there. If you want to put your GPA, if you want to brag about that, there is nothing wrong with that, because I sure did. I was like, you know what? I do have a 3.85 right now. I do have a 3.9, blah, blah, blah. I want them to know that I take my school seriously. And when I graduated, I went ahead and I switched it, because I graduated with honors. So I put that on there. I think that's important. You want them to know, because anybody can go to school and get a C and get a degree. You can just see your way through the whole entire degree, literally see your way and obtain a degree. You know what I'm saying? I want them to know I was not a C student. I actually took it seriously. So I feel like that's important. And you know, they'll even ask what school you went to and all kind of stuff like that. I mean, I've asked that kind of stuff. So those are just a few tips that I wanted to give you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to answer. I will not be generating resumes for you guys. That takes a lot of time. I don't want to review them. Seriously, it takes so long to do that. Seriously, I should open up a business where I do that and have people pay me to do that, because that's how much time it takes to make a resume if you want to make it flawless. Also, before I end this video, make sure that you guys are proofreading your resumes before you guys send it in. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've reviewed resumes coming in, applying at the organization I was working for, and I would see spelling mistakes. Like, where are they doing that? Now I know you don't pay attention to detail, so I'm just gonna put that to the side. I don't want to read the rest of it because you can't even take the time to proofread the resume. So, no. So make sure you proofread. And even if you proofread it and you don't find any mistakes, have somebody, have your spouse, have your friend, have somebody else proofread it, because I can't tell you how many times I've proofread like some of my papers that I've turned in and I thought everything was perfect, and then I had somebody else read it and they found a few mistakes. It's because you're mentally drained and you just need somebody else to look at it. Okay, so make sure you do that. And if the job that you're applying for is, I just don't want to forget this, is very big on education, maybe put down your education right after your objective. Don't put it down at the bottom. I usually put mine down at the bottom, but if somebody's like, you must have a master's degree in blah, 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 I want them to know that I am qualified, like, with my education first, so that they will keep reading the rest of my resume. So, just a few tips and tricks. So, yeah, that's it. If y'all, like I said, if y'all have any questions, let me know. And, yeah.